How's the day?
That's all right.
Is all right? All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone was able to get any study in it today? Nobody? No one is able to get any studying in today?
We got eternity, man. We get a rush.
I mean, I practice on my essay writing.
Alright, that's good. That's good. That's good. I thought about actually writing just before class. I was like, oh boy. Alright. That's good. Anyone else got some studying in?
I do plenty biology today.
You do any biology. Okay. Paper one or paper two or paper three?
Paper one and paper two.
Paper one and paper two. Okay, that's good. Um, what year?
The teens. The teens.
The tens? Okay. Um, how did you find them?
I have the book.
No, when I say how did you find them, like how was it in terms of
Oh, everything come natural, man.
okay, all right, okay, all right, that's good. Yeah, biology is an extension to general and health science. Um, so if you're good with those, then biology should be familiar. I mean, some things they do, some things are new with the biology, but it's okay for the most part. All right, so let's begin our journey. Let's continue from where we were. Oh, yeah, I have an announcement. Um, regarding schedules, right? If you want to know, anyone got their schedules yet?
No.
Okay, but if you wanna know the schedule, please go to test and evaluation. I called them today, and they told me um, that you would need to bring your receipt and an ID, and then they'll give you your schedule. All right, so apparently the schedules are already out. So make an effort this week to get your schedules, okay?
Wonderful, wonderful.
Say wonderful. Yeah, it's around that time.
Sometimes you can't wait to fail, so you can get it off your chest.
No, no, we ain't gonna fail. We're not gonna fail. Um, okay, so let's go. All right, so the last thing we was on, um, well, last week we talked about this. We talked about how these three inequalities satisfy, um, or how to show that these three inequalities are satisfied, or where they are satisfied, which region they are satisfied, and then we shared that. And then oh yeah, the very last thing that we did on this paper was this isosceles triangle, where we look at the different cases and we show the different possible values that the other two angles could have. Now today, we're going to do this matrices problem. I want us to consider this because we have to understand how to multiply matrices. That's important, and you have to understand not only how to multiply matrices, but also when you are multiplying matrices, what is the result? All right. And so I guess we could do a little um, overview of matrices and see how that works out for us. So just a little snippet on matrices. Anyone familiar with matrices? Heard about it before? Um, you know anything about it?
Do they use it in calculus?
Why you like calculus? Well, yeah, they use it in calculus. Not heavily though. But anyone ever did matrices before?
I know they use it in special
Yeah, you
relativity.
did review before.
Yes, sir. I
Okay,
did.
you did. Okay. Okay. So we
Yeah,
we
matrix. Anything.
we. Oh yes, that's true. We did do a question on matrices before, but that was matrix equation. All right. Um. So basically, a matrix is just right in terms of definition. So all it is it's a rectangular array of um of numbers or letters. Um, we just could say more broadly just mathematical or expressions too. So a matrix would look like there's different ways to write a matrix. Sometimes we see it written like this. So this one here, like say if we have A, B, right? This is a matrix, and this is what we call a column matrix. Okay. Um, See it look like a column. Um, then we have sorry. Then we have um square matrix would look like this. So we could have 1, 3, 4, and say 7, and that's what we call a square matrix right here. Any guess as to why it's called a square matrix?
The brackets are like in a square shape.
No, I mean no, that's not why.
Because it have four numbers.
Because there are four numbers. Okay, yeah, that's closer. Um, because it has the shape of a of a square. You see that with the four numbers right there moving like so. Um, and then we have so a matrix could be here, right? Um, the way how we state the order. Okay, so there's some features of a matrix, right? So wait, let me before I talk about the features, let me give you another example of matrix, and then we can look at the features of a matrix here. So like I said, this one is column, this one is square. Um, we can have one looking like this, 2. So 1, 8, 2, 4. That's also a matrix. So row matrix. Um, so it's basically numbers with the brackets around them. That's basically what it is. The brackets could either be more like parentheses, or they could be more like the real original brackets. I tend to do it with the square brackets. That's how I like to draw mine. And so this is another example right here of a matrix too. So we could have 1, 4, and 5. This could be 7, 8, 10. This could be, we could put a letter in there. H, 2, and 3. So this is an example of just a matrix. Okay.
So, Mr. P,
Mm-hmm.
the matrix don't have to be rectangular then.
What do you mean?
Because the first one isn't really rectangular.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. Um, that's just by definition. That's
And then the second one's more of a square.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. But you know a square is a rectangle. That's just definition I remember my teacher giving us. Yeah, that's the typical way they describe it. A rectangular array or table of numbers. Yeah, so this is a matrix here. This is a general form of a matrix right now. The general form. Where we have this term, these terms in here that make up the matrix is we call them entries. Okay, so each one of them are entries of the matrix. And the thing about it is we could add matrices and we could subtract them too. I think that this is a very good one to.
So what's the value of M?
What's the value of M? What do you mean?
Yeah, and that matrix you just show us.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay, this is just M doesn't have a value. What I mean is that this is just trying to tell us um, arbitrarily how a matrix would look. What I mean by that is that, okay, let's just say M was 2, right? If M was 2, then that means that this would be 2, 1, this would be 2, 2, and this would be 2. Well, then you would stop at M, the largest number that N could be with 2 would be 2. So in that case, if M is 2, then you end up with a square matrix. If M is 4, then M is just a variable that you could use to extend or decrease the the matrix, right?
All right.
So this is just an arbitrary way to just say that, hey, we could extend it as much as we want to. Yeah, so like I say, it could be the bracket out here, or it could be the square bracket that we have. Okay, each of them is matrix, represent the same matrix. What I want us to focus on is the order of a matrix. So we know how a matrix could look. Um, a rectangular array, or we could say a table of numbers, letters, or expressions. Now, the order of a matrix is what's important. So order or dimension of a matrix. So the order or dimension, or we could say or size of a matrix.
Mr. Badeen,
That's a
can we go back on the previous slide, please?
no problem.
We will take it off.
Okay. All right. All right. Someone is asking to get in. All right. Yeah, so let's talk about the order or the dimension of a matrix. So basically, a matrix has a particular size or a particular dimension. And what it basically is that it is defined to be the number of rows. So the order of a matrix or the size of a matrix is defined to be the number of rows multiplied by the number of columns. The number of columns. So, for example, if we have this particular matrix, right? So we call this matrix matrix A. Um, and matrix A has how much? So what is the? Okay, first of all, how much rows does matrix A have?
2.
2 rows.
Two.
So this is one row, and this is another row, right? How much columns does matrix A have?
3.
3 columns, right? So this is the first column, the second column, and the third column. And so the order of a matrix, or the order of matrix A, or we could say the dimension or the size of matrix A, would be how much?
6.
No, we don't multiply them. I mean, even though it's multiply, right? But we don't actually find the product. So we'd say it's what?
5.
No, no.
We do it in like a ratio.
We just leave it. We just leave it as it is before we find the product. So what is the number of rows? What is the number of columns? So the number.
2 rows, 3 columns.
Good. So it's gonna be 2 times 3. Okay, so that's the order of a matrix, of this particular matrix. So we just leave it as 2 times 3. Okay.
This is almost like carpentry.
Exactly. That's what came to my mind as well. So that's the order of or dimension or size of matrix A. It's 2 times 3.
So do they have to learn this in the carpentry too?
You mean matrices?
Yeah.
No, that's not necessary. I mean, if you're doing like engineering, yeah.
Good night. I mean, good day.
Hey, Miss Cooper, I just thought about you.
Okay.
All is well?
Yes, sir.
You're not usually late. What happened?
I was trying to print something for school.
Okay. Okay. All right. So let me give you some.
You go back on the left.
Okay. All right. No problem. So we're gonna do a quick exercise on finding the order dimension of a matrix, right?
And you already find it?
No, I mean other ones. Ready know for this one. I'm gonna give you.
It can't be this easy, right?
This is we're just building foundations. You can see why I emphasize the order, right? I'm just teaching terminology right now, right?
Okay,
this
so they wouldn't
matrix.
be.
Pardon?
Order, Miss Badee.
All right.
This
Say it again.
this matrix thing in Bgcse.
No. Not for y'all. No, y'all didn't
Because I never see that word.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm confused.
Oh mercy.
When you finish this,
So
you can
that
do examples.
Yeah, we can do some examples. All right, so let's do it. So, let me find a good exercise first. So, find the order of a matrix exercise. So let's see, or worksheet. Let's see if they give us a good one. Okay, good. Yeah, pretty good. Let's do this one.
Also, you have the label them because I see you put rows and columns at the bottom.
Not necessary. No, you don't have to label them. I just did it for us because we was learning. But for now, we should be able to do it. Okay, so let's do this. So, what's the order of matrix I?
2 by 2.
2 by 2. Double I. Looks like the same thing to me. 2 by 2.
That's the column matrix. No way.
No. This is square matrix.
I mean, I.
I?
That's square.
Yeah, they square. All 2 by 2 matrices are square matrices. And so this is 2 by 2 as well. How about this one? This one
3 by 3.
So how much rows we have? We have 1 row,
3.
2 row, 3 rows. So 3 rows. How much columns we have? 3 columns.
3.
Also 3.
So this is 1, 2, 3 columns. So 3 by 3. It's not like the same thing, so we won't do it. This one looks different though. So this is also 3 by 3. But
Still a 3 by 3.
this one, what is this one?
3 by 4.
4 by 4.
Mm-mm.
4 by 4.
4 by 4, yeah.
4 by 3.
No, 4 by 4, she's right. Because
I could be 4 by 4.
It's 3,
oh
Mr.
no, yeah,
Petit.
that's true, that's true.
Only 3 rows.
Only 3 rows, that's true. 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, that's true. Only 3 rows. And how much columns? 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. So 3 by 4. And this, what is this one? Only the same thing, isn't
Same thing.
3.
it? 3 by 4.
3 by 4, I mean.
Mhm. This one also looks like a 3 by 4 too. Alright, so that's how we determine the order of a matrix. So that's order of a matrix. Now, the order of a matrix or the size of a matrix is important when we want to determine the resultant matrix when we multiply two matrices. Alright, again, the order of a matrix is important when we want to determine the order of the resultant matrix when we multiply two matrices together. So matrices can be multiplied together, and even the multiplying matrices, before we even multiply matrices, they must be well, in order to add matrices, they must be of the same order. In order to subtract them, they must be of the same order. In order to multiply them, they don't have to be of the same order. So I think we should mention that. So
Hold on, you could repeat that, please, Mr. Petit.
I'm gonna write it down. So let's look at the order of a matrix and operations. So add two matrices.
So it's almost like a fraction rule then.
What you mean? They must be of the same order. To subtract, what you mean?
Because you remember when
Spelled too wrong.
To add matrices, they must be of the same order. What I spelled wrong? Oh,
TWO,
yeah, to add two matrices.
when you learn fractions, when you adding them, you gotta make it the same. But when
Oh,
you multiplying them, you know,
they don't matter. I see what you're saying. That's true, That's true. To add matrices, they must be of the same order. To subtract matrices, they must be of the same order. To multiply matrices, they do not need to be. But they follow a different rule. So what I mean is that two matrices, so let's say matrix A and matrix B. So let's say we have this matrix. So let's call this matrix A. Alright, and let's say you call this matrix A. This is 2, 1, 4, and 3. Matrix B is 3, 2, 1, and 4. Matrix C is matrix C is 1 and 5. And matrix D is 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. Now, so the question is, can we add matrix A and matrix B?
Yes, sir.
Can we add them?
No, sir.
Yeah,
No,
because
sir.
they're not in order. Because D is not in order. Wait, not that I mean.
Okay.
No, it can't.
Okay, what's the order of matrix A?
Yeah, you can add them.
2, 1, 4, 3.
What's the order of matrix A? The order of matrix A.
2, 1,
2
4,
by
3.
2.
2 by 2, right?
Oh,
That's what you mean by that?
Yes, that's the
Ooh.
order of a matrix.
Oh, I thought you mean the numbers have to be in order like 2.
That's what I thought too.
No. Order or size or dimension, right? What's the
I
dimension?
believe that
What's the dimension of B? Dimension of B.
2 by 2.
2 by 2. I really have 5 listening comprehensions. I mean, reading comprehension.
What's the
You know,
dimension of C?
1 by 1.
1 by 1.
Not 1 by 1.
1.
How much rows we have?
1.
1.
This is a row. This is a row. So we have 2 rows. How much columns we have?
1.
1.
Column.
2 by 1.
2 by 1.
Alright.
And then this one is a what?
3 by 2.
No, you mean 2 by 2, but I
2
think
by
it's
3.
2 by 2.
2
Yeah,
by
2 by 3.
3.
We'll go first, the row or column.
The row.
Okay.
Okay. So we know the dimension of these stuffs, right? The question is now, what can we add? What can we not add? What can we subtract? So A and B, can we add them?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, we could.
But not C though. Or D.
A, sorry, A minus B. Can we add? Can we subtract them?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can. Okay, how about A multiplied by, no, let's just do something even more simpler before we even get to multiply. How about A, no, yeah, how about A multiplied, no, let's do A plus C. Can we add them?
No.
No.
What you ask?
Can we add them, A and C?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
No. Why not?
Because they don't have the same, like,
They
don't
have
have
different
the,
dimensions.
yeah.
Yeah, they have different dimensions. Yeah. All that's different. So here we say in the exam you wouldn't write no, you just would say undefined. Okay. It is undefined.
So you can't put any other word other than undefined?
I don't know of any other word that would work. Alright, offhand. If you put in your calculator say arrow.
What if you put error?
I wouldn't put arrow. Arrow don't sound nice. Okay, so B plus C. Or let's do B minus C. Right? Would that work?
No.
No. Can't work. Because
The dimensions are different.
the dimensions are different. Now, the same thing applies for A plus D. We can't do that. Now, so no, we can't do it. Now, in order for us to now, oh man. Okay, how about C times D?
That could work?
No, I'm not.
Yes.
Wait.
Yes, they could work.
Yeah.
C times D.
And you say it don't have to be of the same order?
The whole thing got to be the same, right?
So what's the rule?
Yeah, that's the thing. They follow a different rule. Okay. And no, they cannot. We cannot multiply them.
What's the rule?
The rule for that, we can write it down. But the rule is basically that these two numbers at the back must be the same. Okay, that's the rule. So
So the back or the front?
Maybe just for 2 minutes, please.
no problem. So these two numbers, this number and that number, they must be the same in order for you to multiply them. And so we're gonna look at that. But let's
Don't
actually
take it off.
let's actually add some matrices before we add. Like, how do we add matrices is a question, and so I think we need to look at that.
One question, Mr. T.
Go ahead.
So on the first matrix, it have to be the last number. On the second matrix, it have to be the first number.
Yeah, so in order to multiply them, the column of your first matrix and the row of your second matrix must be the same. All right, so again, the column of your first matrix and the row of your second matrix must be the same in order for you to multiply them. Okay.
Yes, so.
So, but before we get into that, let's actually do some exercise where we actually multiply some stuff. Oh, sorry, add.
Yes, Mr. T.
Yes, ma'am.
This your first question or I miss?
We haven't touched the question yet, believe it or not. I just thought that I would do a quick review on matrices, and so that's what we've just been doing. So I think IXLs have some good questions. Let's check them, see if they have some good matrices question. Sorry.
So you know all of my sites say.
Yeah, that's what I do. Okay, so let's do matrices and let's do adding matrices, right? Okay, good.
Hey, Mr. BT, I have a question.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Anyway, the
My
question was,
free trial is ended, so I guess I can't do this. But let's add them. So how do we add them? I think that we can learn from this example.
Well, I think 9 is the missing answer.
All right, so the idea when you add in matrices, sorry, sorry. Okay, voila. Sorry. Give me one moment. Let me let this person in. Oh, Kennedy. Give me one moment. I think I can get into IXL if I just use a different account. So,
go incognito mode for free trial.
say it again.
Go incognito mode for free trial.
Incognito. Well, you know all the tricks. Incognito.
Works all the time.
You had that right. Wait, let me see something. Okay. All right, I think we good. Let me begin sharing my screen again. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go here. So again, we want to add matrices. You know what? Let me go on this.
You get the free trial?
Yeah, I was able to get it. Okay, so I mean they start with a very low example. They start with subtracting. I want us just to do add. But anyway, the idea is that you subtract column by column. Sorry, entry by entry. So this entry would go with this entry, and this entry would go with that entry. So we have to say 1 minus 1. You see that?
Yes, sir. 0.
3 minus 1. Excuse me. 3 minus 1 is what?
2.
2. And we already have that. And then so 1 minus 1 would be what?
0.
0.
So the whole answer is 2?
So the answer is 0, 2.
Okay.
See that?
Okay.
Okay, so submit
Yes.
that. So we correct. Okay, so this is the next one. So look, 7 plus 1 is what? 8.
8.
And then 2 plus 2 is what?
4.
4. Good. And then 3 plus 4 is what?
7.
7. And then 3 plus 4 is what?
7.
7. Okay?
Can I write the question down later?
Okay, no problem. So she wants to write down the question. So this is how we add matrices. What do we notice about these two matrices though, before we even could add them?
They have the same
2 by
dimension.
2.
They have the same order. Okay? So, and that's one thing to notice. When you are adding matrices or subtracting them, they must be of the same order, and the resultant matrix is a matrix of the same order as well. I think I should make a note of that. So the resultant matrix when you add two matrices is a matrix of the same order as the addends. Alright? As the two previous ones that you have. Okay? So this resultant matrix for addition and subtraction. So the same thing applies also for subtraction. Likewise for subtraction. So you start off with two matrices that are the same order, and then when you add them, it'll be a matrix of the same order as well. So let's go back here. So again,
Can you go back on it?
no problem. So when the resultant matrix for addition and subtraction, like the matrix that you get afterwards is going to be a matrix that is of the same order as the two previous ones. Okay, that's important. So you shouldn't start off with adding something that's 2 by 2 and end up with a 4 by 4 matrix at the end. Like that don't work. That's impossible. All right. So we clear on that?
I was just gonna ask how you would even do that in the first place.
Well, trust me, students have some interesting ways of doing them. All right. So yeah. So
I'm take it off. Hold on.
take it off. Okay. Yeah. So all we mean is that if you have, you know, A, B, C, and D, and you add in them. So you add in D, E, F,
I have it.
and G. The new matrix that you have, right, will be a matrix that is of the same order as the old one. So K, M, L, and P.
But Mr. Petit, I think I could see how they get an extra matrix,
Yeah, there's
because
uh-huh,
if you get a double-digit number
uh-huh,
on the top or bottom, it might seem like it have an extra
extra row.
extra column.
Mm-hmm.
Or
I understand. But once you'll see, like if you look at the ones that we're doing now, like it's clear. It's clear.
It's supposed to be tree.
Oh, they ain't doing double digits yet. But it'll be clear that it's in that particular row and column. Right? So do we understand how to add this? Again, 7 plus 1 is 8. So when you add corresponding entries. Okay, so 7 and 1, 8, 2 and 2, 4, 3 and 4, 7, 3 and 4, 7. So let's add that. Good. So again, what do we notice about these two matrices? They are what?
they are the same. They have the
Order.
same dimension.
Correspondent.
Order.
Correspondent.
They're the same order. They have the same size. And the resultant matrix is a matrix that is also of the same order. And so that's important. And so this will be, we get 9 minus 5, which is 4. And so we get 1 minus 0, which is what? Which is
1.
good. And then they do the same thing over and over. So we good. So that's the idea with that. Okay. Now, what else do we need? We need... Oh, we're trying to figure out what happens when we multiply two things. So first, the criteria for multiplying. When multiplying two matrices. So in order to multiply two matrices, the column of the first matrix and the row for the second matrix must be the same. Okay, so let's say we have a matrix. Let's say we have matrix A, and matrix A is, say, a 2 by 2. So this is 1, 4, 5,
That's what it is.
7. Yes, ma'am.
If you get a number with 2 digits, you still could put it there.
Number 2 digits, what you mean?
If you get
Yeah, that's you can still put it down. It's still work. Let's say we have 4, 3, 2, 1, 6, and 5. Okay, good. So what's the order of A?
2 by 2.
2 by 2.
What's the
And
order?
these 2 by 3.
2 by 3.
2 by 3. Good. What is the column of the first matrix?
2.
2. What is the row of the second matrix?
2.
2. So can we multiply them?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sure.
So we can multiply A and B. So yes, we can multiply them. Okay, so that's basically the rule. The only criteria for multiplying is that they don't have to be the same order, right? They could be, right? But they don't have to be of the same order. Once the column for the first one and the row for the second one is the same, then we could multiply them.
So since one of two and one of three, you could multiply them, please.
Say it again.
Like you can multiply them, right?
You want us to multiply them now?
Yes, sir.
No. It ain't that easy to multiply them.
I know because I see in three on one side and two on the other side. So like, you put zeros there.
No. It's a rule. It's a rule to multiply them. Whole formula. All
Oh,
right?
goodies.
Yeah, it ain't easy to multiply them. All right. Okay, so that's the thing. Now, what if we had, say, C, and then C is the one that adds. All right, can we multiply A and C? Is that defined?
What'd you say?
Can we multiply A and C?
No, sir.
Yeah, they're not the same.
Well, remember that the order of this one is what?
Yes, I think so.
Wait.
They're not compatible.
What is the order of C?
C has 2 rows, so yeah.
Two, one.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it's 1 by 2, but like,
Oh, 2 times.
No, you got it wrong.
All right. So this is also 2, right? So this one corresponds with that. So yes, we can.
so the row go first.
The 2 back numbers. So this is once the column of the first one and the row of the last one is the same, then we can multiply them.
Oh, I keep saying the column first. Like the column is the number you write down first, then the row.
Oh, it's row by column, always row by column. Okay, so what if we had, say, a next matrix, say matrix D, and matrix D is of the form, let's say it's of the form 1, 4. Okay, can we multiply B by D, and can we multiply C by D?
No?
No, sir.
One more. Let me fix it properly. Can we multiply C by D? C. All right. Can we multiply B by D and C by D? Well, so what is B? The row on. Well, first of all, tell me the answer. Then.
No?
No.
No.
Undefined.
The undefined. How about the bottom one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Bottom one? Yes or no?
Yes.
yes.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
Which one y'all going with?
I go with
Oh, yes.
Going with yes. Okay. All right. So the first one is this is a 2 by 3, and then D is a what?
a 1 by 2.
1 by
1 by 2, because it has 1 row and 2 columns. So these two numbers are not the same. So yeah, we cannot do that. No. All right, C is a what?
2 by 1.
And then D is a what?
1 by 2.
1 by 2.
No, 1 by 1.
1 by 2.
No, it's
1 by 2.
Wait, how is it? Oh, I see my.
Oh, wow.
Oh
So
my
can we
God.
multiply them?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We can. All right. So that's how we do it. So one more thing before we go back to our problem. One more thing. I know we haven't really done any problems yet. Don't throw stones at me. But we need to
I have a
do
question. But like,
so. Go ahead.
How heavily is this implemented
How
on
heavily
exam?
is this implemented on the exam? You can see. They usually have a matrix question on paper 3. Question 2. That's usually where the matrix questions be. Every paper 3 question, generally speaking, has a matrix question. It's usually on the first page, right? So it's usually like the first 5. Sometimes they ask you, like in this case, I did all of this to prepare us for question 2 what we're about to do, right? So that's why we have to. I can't say that one concept is more important than the other because all them add to make a part of the whole. You see what I'm saying? Because the questions that they usually ask for matrices questions are usually more intuitive questions. What I mean, like they more concept based, more like theory based. So you have to know your theory when it comes to matrices. And it ain't all that deep. Just you have to know the rules. And if you understand the rules first, then whatever question they give you, you should be able to hit at it. Whether it is when it comes to adding, because they could ask you with adding, or whether it comes to when the last time we had a matrix equation, or they may ask you something about the inverse, or they may ask you something like in this case, they ask you what is the resultant matrix, or it could be some form of multiplication, or it could be matrix algebra. So understanding the theory is important, and so that's why we park here for a while. Okay. All right, sir.
Thank you.
But in terms of heaviness, it's usually only one question out of the whole exam. All right, one question with 2 parts usually. That's how they ran. It don't usually be more than that for matrix questions. And that's for paper 3. I don't see matrix questions in paper 2. Because I guess matrices is an extended topic. So I don't see it in paper. I haven't seen matrices questions in paper 2. Only in paper 3. So that's it. Okay, so we talk about the criteria for the order. The criteria for the order when multiplying 2 matrices, right? Now we need to talk about the resultant matrix for multiplication of matrices, right? So what is going to be the resultant matrix for multiplying? Right? So when you multiply 2 matrices, what is going to be the order of the matrices that you get? The order of the matrix that you get in return. So let's use our form example. So the example we had before, let's just make up a new one time. So let's call this matrix A. So let's say this matrix had, say, 7, 8, 2.
You say 7?
7, like
Jesus.
like how the guy from Sesame Street would say it. The counting guy, man, from Sesame Street. And let's say this is 4, 3.
Different era.
Different arrow, boy. Different arrow.
You mean Elmo?
Say it again.
You meant Elmo?
Not Elmo, man. The guy with the glasses, man.
I ain't watched that so long.
Let's see.
And then the yellow person?
No, don't worry about it.
The best was?
No, I was talking about yeah, nothing to do with math. They're talking about the counting guy from Sesame Street.
That's the vampire man.
The vampire man, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he say 7 like
A 1, a 2,
yeah, there we go.
a 3.
All right.
Good old days, bro.
You only lying a lot.
I swear.
32.
I can believe that. Or you just had a childhood. Yeah. rare these days. Okay, okay, so 2, 1, 2, 3. Let's just make this a square matrix one time. So let's say this is 4, 3, 6, and 5. So, okay, so first question. I'm not gonna spoon feed you this time. If we have A times B, right? Can we multiply them? I ain't putting the matrix. I ain't putting the order there for you. Can we multiply?
A times who?
A times B. Can we multiply?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good. We can multiply them.
Yeah.
Now I want you to watch carefully. So remember, this is a 2 by 2 matrices, right? 2 by 2 matrix, and then B is a what?
2 by 1?
2 by 1, right?
Yes, sir.
Remember, we're talking about what would be the result. What will be the resultant matrix, right? So
Yes, sir.
after you've already established that these two are able to multiply by virtue of them, these two numbers being the same, the resultant matrix, right? The order of the resultant matrix would simply be this number and this number. Okay, so the order, right? The order. So the order of.
Mr. Petit, you can't use that color.
I can't use that color. You can't see it.
No, I try to figure out if you was lagging.
Okay. All right. So the order. Thank you for that. So the order of A times B. So order or size or dimension of A times B. So this is AB. Is, what is it? 2
2 by 2.
2 by 1.
2 by 1.
Remember we said that what? The resultant matrix would take the dimension of these two numbers out that are left. Okay? So that would be the order of the new matrix. Okay? 2 by 1. Okay. Do you understand that? I need to do another example.
Do it again.
Yes.
You could do another one.
Let's do another example. So A times C, right? So A times C, the order of A is what?
The who?
The order
By 3.
2 by 2.
2 by 2.
2. The order of C is what?
2 by 3.
2 by 3.
2 by 3, good. So we know that we can multiply them, right? Because
Yes, sir.
these two are the same. Now my question is, what is the order of the resultant matrix?
2 by 3.
2 by 3.
Very good, 2 by 3. Very good. So the order of the resultant matrix is always the ones that are left on the exterior, on the outside. So order of A times C.
AC.
Yeah, or AC, yeah, is 2 times 3. Good. Next we have A times D. First of all, can we multiply them together?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can. The order of matrix A is 2 times 2. The order of matrix B is 2 times 2. So they are the same dimension. And so these two would be the same. What would be the order of the resultant matrix?
2
2 by
2 by 2.
Okay. So order of A times D is 2 by 2. So when you multiply your matrices, before you even multiply your matrices, figure out what would be the order of the resultant matrix, and then do it. All right. It's always good to figure out what's going to be the order of the resultant matrix, because that helps you in remembering how to go about multiplying. At least it helps me when I do it like that. So that's important.
So this ain't multiplying, and you just find the order of it?
We're just saying when we multiply it, we haven't multiplied them yet. When we multiply it, so like if we were to actually go about multiplying this matrix with that, the order of the new matrix that we get would be 2 by 1. Right? And if we were to actually multiply matrix A by matrix C, the order of the new matrix that we get would be 2 by 3. And if we were to multiply A by D, the order of the new matrix would be 2 by 2. Okay, so you need to know what's going to be the order of your new matrix even before you multiply them out. All right, please send in the notes. Thank you, Juan.
Mr. Bdig,
Yes, sir.
can you go back on the first slide, please?
First slide. You mean the one before this?
The one earlier. The first one.
Very first one. Okay. This? No, this. No.
Go for it.
Forward.
Great job.
Okay, this is the order. Thank you, Lionel. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Miss Penman. All right.
Mr. Petit, after you finish this, you could go on the first one before this.
Yeah, let me do that. Ricardo, let me know when to move.
I write in this one too.
Lionel, how is your pictures green? Like, how do you get that like that?
Oh, I have like a light up, like in my house it get darker very quick, so I turn on the lights so I can see.
And that's the color of the light in your room.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
I thought only my brothers do that. Take a light bulb and put it to a color.
All right. All right. Okay, I guess. So. All right. Interesting. Thank you, Miss Mikkel. Very nice. Very neat.
I have it.
Good.
I still writing that.
Because he was talking. That's why.
Isn't all light colorful?
I talking.
Say it again.
Isn't light colorful in general?
Oh my! Then he goes to the physics thing. So my goodness. Take it away, Mr. Battle.
Roy G. Biv.
Right done.
Ah, boy. Yes. Okay, this one you're talking about.
Just looking at it, I kind of understand like how you would multiply it now, straight out, basically.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I just wanted to learn something. I learned how to multiply it out now. So, yeah, I understand.
You understand? Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. I'm not laughing at none of you all.
Mr. Petit,
Uh-huh.
can I ask you an unrelated question?
What happened?
You know, light have the Roy G. Biv colors in it, right?
Yeah.
So, you know how things is reflect like in our eye.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason it don't reflect other colors is because the thing it reflecting off absorb those colors, right?
I do not remember the physics of it. I ain't gonna lie. But it sounds right what you're saying. It sounds right. But anyway, continue with the question.
So, because it absorbed the other colors and only taking out one, Like we always refer to things like, oh, this book white,
Oh
but
yeah,
the book isn't white. It's reflecting white light,
I
so
understand.
it's not white.
I
So
understand.
technically, I'm not black
When you
because
study,
I reflect in black off me. So I'm not black. You know, I'm all the colors other than black.
other than black.
So you're yellow?
All of
Yeah.
those colors. All I can absorb all of those colors
Yeah,
except black.
they're black. Yeah, by yeah, that's what the physics tells us.
I wasn't finished. I was almost finished.
Oh, for you. Um. Okay, let me give you that opportunity. Take a picture of it, Miss Cooper, because we're ready to move. I don't want to lose the concept.
I done now.
Yeah. All right. Good. All right. So yeah.
Let me take a picture of this, Mr. Petite.
This final one. This one.
Yeah,
So this
right
is
there.
yeah. So this is the resultant matrix, right, for multiplication. And so with that in mind, understanding this information, let's go back to now we're ready after all of that. Now we're ready to deal with this question. I think we're ready now. Okay, so the question is, the matrix A, I ain't gonna tell you all the answer, I want you all to tell me. The matrix A is of order 3 by 2. So now we understand what it means when they say order, right? What does it mean?
3
They
rows
mean
and
like
2
the
columns.
dimensions.
3 rows and what? 2 columns, good. And the matrix B is of order 2 times 1. Write down the order of the resultant matrix A times B.
Two times one.
Mm-mm.
So they want us to put it by letters or numbers?
Oh my God, 3 by 1.
Anyone agree
2
with
by
her?
1.
Yeah, there's 3 by 1 because those are the
Oh,
what you
yeah,
call
yeah,
it
yeah,
again,
yeah, yeah.
resultant
3 by 1.
matrix. Yeah,
It is what? What is it?
they're the
Resultant.
resultant matrix.
That's the
Yeah,
order of the
so
resultant matrix. Very
the
good.
remainder is 3 by 1. Yeah.
Good. Okay, good. Now, first of all, right? When they say AB, they mean A multiplied by B, right? And as you can see with this one, these two matrices, we could multiply them because if you look carefully, we have the first one is 3 by 2. The second one is what? 2
2 by 1.
by 1. So we have the first figure, can we multiply them? And yes, we can because these two are the same. Okay. And then the order of the resultant matrix is what?
3 by 1.
By 1. Okay. So the answer here is 3 by 1. Good. Okay. Okay, so let me know when you're ready.
See?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you see the time?
7:14. Wow. I don't know how I get that time so quick. Is that what you're commenting on too?
Don't move it.
Hey, Nancy.
God,
Say it again.
I didn't hear what you say.
I say, is that what you're commenting on too? Like, how quickly is it gone?
No, I just was kind of surprised I took an hour to explain it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm not really worried about the time. I worry about explaining it, how long it takes.
yeah. But the thing is, right? And it's so simple, right? Like once you get it, it's like okay, it's 3 9 1. Like,
So,
but with this one question, so much things inside of it. Like, okay, first of all, what is a matrix? That's the first thing. Second thing, what is the order of a matrix? Third thing, what do we mean by what does this number mean? What does this number mean? Then fourth thing, um, what happens when we multiply? Can we multiply these two matrices? Then fifth thing, what do we mean by resultant matrix? And then last thing, what is the order of the resultant matrix? So all those things we had to clear up first.
So we had to know the theory then.
You had to know the theory exactly. You had to know the theory in order to be able to answer this question. Else it wouldn't make sense.
So you were saying they'd ask us to actually do 1 2,
Yeah,
like with the multiplication.
yeah, and that's the second one. That's the second part, and we're gonna do that right now. All right, so it's important to know how to multiply matrices in general, right? And so we're gonna look at that too. And it's a little tricky, and you have to be following honestly. Because when I showed my students this in class,
Wow. And that's the person who say math is easy saying this far tricky.
no, it's oh my goodness. When I say tricky, what I mean is like I don't want to eat my words, right? But
Like don't expect to get it the first or second or third time.
what I'm just saying is just that like um it's for this one for sure. Um like you have to remember the algorithm. Like all it is an algorithm and you have to remember it. Let me see if they have it on the formula on the exam. No, they don't have the formula for multiplying matrices on the exam. But
It's a formula too?
yeah, it's a formula for multiplying these matrices, right? Um and then once you know how to multiply it, then what happens is you just once you know how to multiply it now, then what happens is um you don't need the formula no more. So let's look at it. So formula for multiplying, we can do 2 by 2 matrices, and then we're gonna do that one formula
So
for
Mr. Potato, we have to do algebra on this too.
yeah,
Because I see X and Y.
yeah, we have to do algebra too. But let's start off with okay, I think this is a good formula. This is a good formula for it. Yeah, he's just teaching us that the order of the new one. But this is a good formula, right? Excuse me, for multiplying two by two matrices. This one is also good. Um, we really want is the one that's in general. Uh, mm, dot product.
That CIK thing is the formula?
No, yeah, that's a formula for part. Okay, we just could do it. We just could start with the 2 by 2 then, and then we're gonna branch off from that. So this is the formula that is important for you to know how to use. So this is specifically a 2 by 2 by multiplied by a 2 by 2. So the idea here is that so this is a number which represented by a letter. This is gonna be a number. This is a number. This is a number. This is also a number. This is a number. This is a number. This is a number. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're going to remember this is okay. The way I usually remember it is no. Let me just do it by the formula so you all can just see it. So the idea is that look, you're gonna take this number, and then you're gonna multiply it by this number. Then that's what the AE stands for. Then you're gonna add that. Sorry, then you're gonna take this number here and multiply it by this number. That's what the BG. Sorry, you're gonna multiply it by not that.
What up, cheating?
No, yeah, that's it because it's this one. It's the bottom. So good. So we take this row multiplied by this column. So A, E, B, G. And I mean, it makes sense because this is literally row 1, column 1. So you're going to take this row and multiply it by this column, right? I don't know if that makes sense. Like, this is literally, this right here, this rectangle is row 1, column 1. So we're going to take, we're going to take this row, right? The same row and multiply it by the first column, okay? Again, this row 1, multiplied by column 1. So that's A times E and B times G. And we add them. So corresponding entries, right? So again, row 1, column 1. Now, in order to get the next one, we already know how to do it because look, what is this? This is row 1, column what? Column what?
2.
Column 2.
Column 2.
No, this is the second column. You agree?
Yes, sir.
Right, Mr. Meadows?
Somewhat.
This is the second column. This is the first column, and this is the second column.
That's almost something like genetics.
Say genetic. That's what it reminds you of it. No, it's not like genetics. But I can see the similarities because they have the cross. But anyway, this is the first row and the second column. So you're gonna again take this row. So this is gonna be this A gonna be multiplied by the F, and then the B is gonna be multiplied by the H, right? So again, corresponding entries. So A times F, B times H, and then we add them. Okay, that's where the AF comes from. That's where the BH comes from. All right, and then the third one is row. This is row 1 or row 2?
That's row 2.
Row 2.
Row
Column
2.
1.
Column 1.
1.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna go to row 2. Remember that this row is gonna be with what? Which column? This row 2 is gonna be with what? Column
Column 1.
column 1. So it's gonna be C times E and D times G, and then we add them. Okay, because it's row 2, column 1. C times E and D times G. Then we add them. And then finally, we have, this is what?
Row 2, column 2.
Row 2, column 2. So we still on row 2. We're gonna deal with column 2. So it's going to be C times F, D times H, right? And we add them. So the CF comes from, and the DH comes from, and then we add the two. Okay, so this is when we're multiplying square matrices, right, by each other. Okay, so let's do one with an example. So let's say we have the matrix 2 times 2, 1, 3, 0 multiplied by, and in matrix C, we don't usually write the multiplication sign, we just put them side by side. All right, so it's going to be 3, 2, 4, and 5. Okay, good. So what do we do? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to, so what is A, what is B, what is C, what is D, and stuff like that. So,
I thought the first thing is you gotta get the resultant matrix.
oh, okay, well, that's true. So, but we already know what it is for 2 by 2. So for 2 by 2, we already know that, yes, we can multiply them. And then the resultant matrix is a 2 by 2. Now, this is A. Would you agree? This is B.
Yes, sir.
This is C. This is D. This is E. This is F. This is G. This is H. So what does the formula tell us? The formula say A times E, right?
Yes, sir.
So that's 2 times 3 plus what? B times G, right?
Yes, sir.
So B times G is 1 times 4 B times G. And then we have C times E. That's going to be 3 times
Times 3. Narrow to 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Then we have D. Sorry, then we have D times G, right?
G.
D times G, which is 0 times 4. All right. Then we have AF, which is going to be
2 times 2.
2 plus G times H, so it's 1 times 5. You don't understand what I'm doing?
Yes, sir.
I'm moving too fast.
Gotcha.
Okay. The one below says C times F.
3 times 2.
So C times F. So that's C 3 times 2. And it's going to be plus D times H. So that's what?
0 times 5.
Good. It's going to be equal to 2 times 3 is what?
6.
6. 6 plus 1 times 4 is
4.
4.
4. So the resultant is 10, right?
10.
Yeah.
So,
And then 3 times 3 is 9. 0 times 4 is 0.
0.
So 9 plus 0 is
9.
2 times 2 is
4,
4. 1 times 5 is
5,
5. 4 plus 5 is
9,
9. 3 times 2 is
6.
6. 0 plus 5 is
You said 0 plus 5, 0
0
times
times 5.
0,
0. So 0 plus 6 is
6.
6. Okay. So this is how we multiply two matrices, right? What do you think about the formula and its application?
Good for the first time doing it.
Okay. Anyone else?
Does it follow the same R1C1, R2C1, R1C2, R2C2?
Yeah, that works for all.
I understand it, but I don't know like which way.
So did it matter that they write it out at the bottom?
What you mean?
We would still get this anyway, right?
What you mean?
Like say that say A, B, and C are squares. A, B, C.
I don't understand.
Like why you write this letters out then?
I don't
Like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Why you write them out?
Why I wrote them out? What you mean?
Like you wrote them out to keep track of what you're doing?
Yeah, I wrote them out so that, okay, for persons who cannot follow through with the row 1, column 1, row 1, column 2, this is what they use, the letters.
So if we was to do this, we could
Okay.
put the letters there.
Say it again?
We could put the letters there.
Yeah, you can put the letters there. Only thing with the letters that you have to remember the formula. Have to remember this formula. Okay? Now, yes, ma'am.
Just a quick question. Does this concept apply to like when it get more developed, like fuels and stuff? Just want to know.
Say it again?
Okay, does this apply to like 3 rows, 3 columns as well? The concept.
The concept, yes.
Okay.
The concept, yes.
So Mr. Petit, our question.
Now, our question is a bit different. So, our question,
No, I say last question.
oh, okay.
So am I ready for engineering yet?
No, mom. Engineering. I mean, you ready? Of course, you ready to of course, you're ready to.
You ready to work at Google?
Never. Say Google. We ain't even close. This is not even close. Trust me. This is not even close, my friend. We just scratching the surface. We ain't even. Oh my goodness, make me laugh. No, we far from it. Trust me, we far from it. You know, if there was a spectrum of math, like if we have a spectrum of math, right? Like let's say 0 is the hardest you could ever do, and 10 is, the most difficult. Let's just say, yeah, let's just say that we would be like at a 0 point, like a 0.12, something like that. We ain't there. Because along the way you need calculus 1. Now first you need to do pre-algebra 1. Then you gotta do pre-algebra 2. Sorry, pre-calculus 1, then pre-calculus 2. Then you gotta do calculus 1, calculus 2, calculus 3, Then after calculus 3, then you gotta do introduction to abstract mathematics. And after you do that, then you're gonna do then you could do number theory, you could do topology, you could do differential, what do you call that? I even forget that's like a long word.
Miss
But
Pretty,
yes, ma'am.
just a quick question on the scale. Where do doctors lie?
Where do doctors lie?
Yeah.
You mean doctors like who in the medical position? Stuff like that?
Yeah, like ER doctors.
They usually score calculus 2. Doctors usually go
So they ain't gotta go all the way up there now with
no,
all
they don't
this.
do they don't have to do. Engineers stop at calculus 3. People who
How would you rate calculus 3?
say it again?
How would you rate calculus 3?
Calculus 3 easy, man. Calculus 3 was easy. It was fun. It's fun mathematics, man. That's fun. I used to love. That was the good old days, boy. What was that? After that,
Hey, Mr.
it's gone downhill.
I have a question, Mr. BP.
Go ahead.
Since you were so smart, right? Have you ever like got your IQ checked?
Say, I ain't smart. Say so smart.
Why are you lying?
Say so smart. Oh, you
But
funny.
did you actually get your IQ checked or something?
No, I haven't. Yours probably better than mine, man.
Man, yours is a good 140 something.
Okay, so we are. No, man, I ain't no genius. These are basic stuff, so ain't nothing done to it. Okay, so let's do our one right now, right? So notice that our one is different than what we saw. What we did 2 by 2, 2 by 2. This one is not a 2 by 2 by 2. This one is a
Just a two by one.
so let's just focus on this side. So this one is a 2 by this is a 2 by 2, right? Multiplied by a what?
2 by 1.
2 by 1. Right. And so let's do a numerical example before we actually do our this example. So let's say we have say so say we had 7, 5, 2, and 3. Let's say that the other one was 4 and 6. Now, if we were to do, and this is why it's very important to do what the resultant matrix is gonna be, because then it will guide you as to what you need to do in order to like multiplying them. This is how I usually do it in practice. So what we do is first we determine, can they be multiplied together? Yes, they can, because these two are the same. Then we have the 2 and the 1, right? 2 by 1. So 2 by 1, that's the resultant matrix. How will a 2 by 1 look? How will a 2 by 1 look?
What you said?
How will a 2 by 1 look? It's gonna have what?
Two
Two rows and one
Rows
column.
and column.
And one column.
One column.
So that means that when we do our whatever we do, we need to ensure that we have one row and a next row and only one column. Okay, so that's gonna help us. So we know that the only thing that we're dealing with is going to be row 1, column 1, and row 2, column 2. That's it. Okay, because it needs to have 2 rows, not column 2, column 1 still. Alright, because it needs to have 2 rows and 1 column. So this is the basic. This is the formula now for the one that we're doing now. So it's gonna have. That's why the resultant matrix is so important. It tells us that this new thing that we have, this resultant matrix, is going to have 1 row and the next row, but only 1 column. And this is going to be the formula that we're going to use to calculate this thing. And so let's do it. So the formula tells us that the thing that goes here is going to be row 1, column 1. So there's going to be row 1, column 1. Again, row 1, column 1. So row 1, column 1, remember we multiply corresponding entries. So it's going to be the 7 multiplied by the 4. So 7 multiplied by the 4 plus what?
5 multiplied by the 4.
5 multiplied by the
6.
because this is the second one. This must be the second one. Okay, so 5 multiplied by the 6. Remember we said corresponding entries. So 5, so 7 and 4. Corresponding entries is very loose. I shouldn't use the word corresponding entries, but that's how it feel like okay, not corresponding entries, but corresponding entries of its transpose. What I mean is like this is the first one, this is the first one, this is the second one, this is the second one. That's what I mean in terms of corresponding. So 7 and the 4, you multiply those two, and then because they come first, and then the 5 and the 6 you multiply them too because they come second. Now they are not in the technical sense the corresponding term, because the corresponding term would be the exact term in the exact row and column. But when I say corresponding here, I mean like one is the first, one is the first, one is the second, one is the second, in that sense. Okay, so before 8 o'clock run upon us, it's going to be 7 by 4, 5 by 6. Good. So that carries this for us. We don't have to worry about this term. We good. The next thing we need to do is we need to do what? What do we need to do?
Row 2, column 1.
Column 1.
Column 1. Good. So row 2, column 1 is going to be, that's going to be this row, right, with this column. So it's going to be, tell me what's going to be our first thing in the multiply.
2 times 4.
2 times 4. Very good.
3 times 6.
Very good. 3 times 4 plus
3.
3 and 6.
6.
Okay. And so let's add them. So I multiply them really. 7 times 4 is
28.
28. 5 times 6 is
30.
30.
30. 2 and 4 is
8.
8.
3 and 6 is
18.
18.
very good. All right, now 28 and 30 is what?
28. I mean 58.
What did I say?
58.
58.
Yeah, 58. And then it's gonna be what?
26.
8 and 18 is 26 indeed. Good. And now we see, right, that the resultant matrix looks like what? Exactly like how we predicted it to be, right? With one row, with row 1, column 1, row 2, column 1. Okay, and so the resultant matrix is exactly 2 by 1. Okay,
So if you don't get the 2 by 1, it would have been wrong.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, for sure.
Mr. Petit, other than writing a number with 2 digits, it's the other way that you could end up getting a different from what you predicted. Like,
Say it again.
other than having like 12 without 2 digits, is it the other way to get like something you didn't predict? Like,
Other than I wanna understand the first way.
I say, you see, like how instead of if you to get something else, like if you had like a double digit, right? Is it a other way to get what you didn't predict instead of having like the double digits?
No, the double digits doesn't mean this is still one row, and this is still one the next row, and this is still one column. Like 5 and the 2 is not in one thing, and then 8 and the 6 is another. You understand that, right?
Yes, sir.
This is one whole number and it's another whole number. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, regards to your question in terms of can there be another way to get the answer wrong? Why? There's many ways to get this answer wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, there are. Like people, what they do is they multiply stuff their own way. So, like for example, they might say 7 and the 4, and then they do 7 again and the 6, and then they put at the bottom, and then they do 5 and the 4, and
Oh,
or what they love to do. Oh, they love to do this. They'd say 7 and the 4, 5 and the 4, 2 and the 6, 3. Like they like just multiply it like regularly. I saw that before. Like for example, let's in this case, they say 2 and the 3, 1 and the 2, 3 and the 4, 0 and the 5. Like they make up their own algorithm. No, you don't do that. You follow the
okay.
algorithm that they give you.
But would you still get mark for the working?
No, the working is wrong. That's wrong. That's not right. Remember, matrix multiplication is defined in a certain way. This is how it's defined. Just because you multiply numbers is not you're not doing matrix multiplication. There's a difference. All right. So now that we know how to do it with numbers, let's go ahead. Now we're prepared finally to actually do our problem. All right. I think we're prepared to do our problem. So, all right, here goes nothing. They say. Good. Any questions on that before I actually venture into the question? Okay, no. So this is the full question we're gonna do it now. Like I say, who asked me? One asked me. Yeah, this is usually matrices be the second question. It's usually on the first page, like I say, and after that you don't see it no more. So after that we don't see no more matrix questions. That's usually it. Like once it is finished from the first page, they don't usually bring it up again. And it's not in paper 2. No matrices in paper 2, right? Um, as a general rule.
That's what they.
Yes, sir.
This question, we should go back on the question.
Which one?
The distance.
This. This, right?
Yeah, that. Yeah, that.
Yeah.
You skip this one, eh?
Did we do? Remember we just gone in 2019, So we start from paper 3. So and we working towards paper 2. You understand? So we start at the end, and then we working all the way. We're working from paper 2 to from paper 3 to paper 2. So this question here is a bearings question. It's bearings. We haven't done bearings. This is paper 2.
I guess we only have 12 minutes remaining.
Oh my goodness, I have timekeepers.
We can't do that bearing tomorrow.
We ain't doing the bearing. What, bearings? Of course, we can't do it today. Will we do it tomorrow? We have to do transformations tomorrow. We have to do graphing tomorrow. No, we can't do the bearings tomorrow. The bearings. If we do well, we could make it this week. Hopefully this week we can see it. All right. Okay, now this question. Nancy, is that you rushing me with the 12 minutes?
No,
One comment.
Russian, it's just that my dinner's getting cold, but I don't want to leave the
Well,
question.
that means you hit the jackpot.
Do it again.
30 times the time.
You hit the jackpot.
Lionel, you nosy way. Wow.
What I was saying is that my dinner was getting cold, so before I got
Okay, so it's about the dinner. Okay.
no, I wasn't rushing. I just wanted to do the question, then leave for dinner. I don't want to leave for dinner, then I missed the question.
You understand? But she understood all.
I was
Is between
before the dinner get cold. I understand.
I was in a rush now. I don't want to rush you because that doesn't microwave for that.
Okay, all right. I don't want your dinner to get cold now.
Was it petite? I knew it was record the lessons and send it to us anyway.
You're right. But our dinner is getting cold. Can't forget that. Can't forget that. Oh my goodness. Nancy, why you do it to yourself every week?
This is
she gave us so much time. I think she wants to explain it too, because there's a lot of time. But
all right, and this is the justice. Do you write it?
No brag.
Ah, boy.
I think you.
All right, so good. So the matrices, of course, can be multiplied by each other. We know that. The resultant matrix would be a 2 by 1. That's what we're expecting. All right. And so just like we did the last time, we know that this is going to be 5. Because remember, okay, let's just construct the resultant matrix. It's going to be row 1, column 1, and then it's going to be what? Row 2, column 1. So that's what? Row 1. This is row 1, column 1. So it's going to be 5 times x, which is what?
5x.
5x, yes, ma'am. Plus 0 times y. 0y.
0y.
Good. And it's going to be
Negative 1 times x.
Negative 1 times x. Very good, Mr. 1.
Negative x or negative 1x?
Yeah. Plus 1 times y.
Y.
Very good. This equals 2, 10, and 5. Now remember, for matrices, we know that 2 matrices are equal. So 2 matrices are equal. Two matrices are equal. If and only if
With routine, you can really put an only if.
that's okay. In math, that's actually something special. And once we have if and only if, what that really means is that it goes 2 ways. So we can say that 2 matrices are equal if corresponding entries are equal. And we can also say if corresponding entries are equal, then the 2 matrices are equal. So it goes both ways. That's why we say if and only if. Okay, so we could take the first one and make a conditional statement of the first one to get to the second one. We take the second one and make a conditional statement, they get to the first one. So it goes both ways. That's what we say if and only if. So it's called a biconditional statement. All right. So two matrices are equal if and only if corresponding entries. That's when you get to abstract mathematics. Then you could be doing conditional statements and biconditional statements and contrapositive and
Could you explain that one more time?
corresponding. What?
I don't understand this. She's so loud. I don't understand it. Like, trying to tune one out and trying to listen to.
Okay. Okay. What part you don't understand? You mean what I'm writing in blue now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm gonna explain it. So what I'm saying is that and it makes so much sense. Like it's like this is like a common sense statement, right? Let me just ask y'all like y'all didn't even have to be like experts, right? Like this ain't even like like this ain't even like Einstein thing. Like I don't even have to write that for y'all to know that it's true. But in math we write everything. So it's 2, it's 3, it's 4, it's 4. Question: Are these matrices equal?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Why?
Because they have the same row and column.
Same order.
More than it being in the same order, because just
And the
because
numbers.
Same number.
same numbers, more than them being the same numbers.
Me like color too?
Corresponding to each other.
Say it again.
They're corresponding to each other.
Yes. Like so corresponding entries are equal. So this is the same thing as this. They are corresponding entries and they are equal. This is the same thing as this, right? This is the same thing as that, and this is the same thing as that. Therefore, we say that the two matrices are exactly the same thing. So two matrices are equal if and only if corresponding entries are equal. And so if we have a case where we have, say, 5, 2, 1, and 7, and then we say we have 8, 3, 2, and 1, are these matrices equal?
Yes.
Not the way I could see it.
Yes? Someone said yes?
You could repeat that again, please.
Are these
Not in
matrices equal?
the
No.
order.
The order is equal, but are the matrices equal?
No, sir.
No, I don't think so.
No,
No.
they're not equal. Why? Because 5 is not equal to 8.
8.
3 is not equal to 2.
Oh.
2.
That's what I'm saying. 1 is not equal to 2, and
2.
7 is not equal to 1.
1.
So that's what we mean. Two matrices are equal if and only if corresponding entries are equal. All right. Now, it's 2 minutes to 8 o'clock. So can y'all indulge me for a bit more, one moment, so we can finish this question?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now I'll be honest, we use unfair today because I haven't done one BJC question. Not one.
It's cool.
So
You could send
I
us to
spent the
God and
whole
Blake.
time on one thing.
yeah,
The whole thing on one thing.
yeah,
I don't believe that was going to happen. Right?
yeah. It's hard to go some days. So tomorrow we gotta make up. All right. So BJC people, y'all having a party tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
So should I come around 7:30 or so?
Is it going to be strictly JC?
Strictly, no, not strictly, but
Yeah, it should be.
I gotta be generous to them. I can't. Gotta be generous.
So will we get tomorrow
Crisis
off?
occurs.
No, of course not. Of
If
course
you
not.
don't need BJC tomorrow, then they can one day up on BJC.
But my thing is this.
Well, that was today.
That was the day. That was the day. But my thing is, I think they benefit more than y'all. Because they still have to do BGCSE anyway. Y'all don't have to do it no more once you're finished. So I think that even though this is strictly BGCSE, that the ones who doing Bgcse, this is good for y'all because at least when it's time for y'all to do the exam, y'all would be. I sure y'all didn't remember everything when it's time to prepare, but y'all at least be exposed. Like when someone say matrices, you wouldn't be like, oh, I never heard this before in my life. Like you would be like you would at least know the terminology, you know. And so that's what I like. That's what I hope for y'all.
They'll be teaching the teacher, Mr. Petit.
They'll be teaching the teacher. They'll be like,
I'll be glad to do that.
They'll be using the if and only if.
If and only if. By conditional statement. All right. So 5x. Okay, so 5x plus 0y is simply what, 5x, right? I don't know if y'all could appreciate that. Or no.
So what if 3 was there?
If 3 was there, then you mean 3y?
Listen.
Yeah, but 3y couldn't do that. But because it's 0y, 0y is just 0. So this goes away. You see what I'm saying? Leaving us with
Yes,
just 5x. Do we understand that? Like 0y is still 0. Because 0 times anything is 0.
So it has no value.
Say it again.
So then it has no value then.
So then it has no value. Leaving us with just 5x. And then negative x plus y, we still have it. So now it's important to understand what we're saying here, right? So we say that we are saying by this equal sign that these two matrices are equal, right? And so therefore we imply that since these two matrices are equal, that their what? Corresponding entries what? Are also equal. Okay? And so that means, right? So we say thus, right? So thus, so because we know that the two matrices are equal, we know that their corresponding entries must be equal, and so something follows. Remember, the goal is to figure out what x and y is, and so 5x must equal to 10. So thus, all right, 5x must equal to 10. Why 5x must equal to 10?
The corresponding?
Yeah, those two entries must be equal because the two matrices are equal. At least as according to the question. The question says that these two matrices are equal. So that means the corresponding entries must be equal. So in order to find what x is, we're gonna do what?
Divide it.
Both sides by
5.
By 5, yes. 5 by 5. Alright, and so these two would cancel, leaving us with x is equal to
2.
10 minus 10 divided by 5 is 2. Good. Next up we have another statement of equality. What else can we say since these two matrices are equal?
Then the two bottoms are equal?
Yeah, the two bottoms are equal. So this is equal to that. Alright? So negative x plus y is equal to 5. We already know what x is, right?
But that's what's gonna ask if you could put 2 x's.
Yeah, definitely. So it's gonna be negative.
It's 8 o'clock.
Plus plus y equals to. Yeah, I know it's 8:04. It's 8:04. I asked them to indulge me to give me some more time to finish this question. Okay, so -2 plus y equals 5. So we're gonna send
Okay, over.
2 over
2 over here. So we y is equal to what?
5
2.
5 plus
plus 2.
which is y is equal to
7. 7.
7. So the value of y that would make this matrix equation true is
7.
equal to 7. X is equal to 2 and y is equal to 7. We could check, we can check if it's right. We could always check, and I can check it once we finish. Once you're ready, write it down. I can show you that we could check it. Any questions on this?
Oh Lord.
Oh boy.
Any questions on this? Overall, how did we find this?
Unfamiliar difficult.
Unfamiliar, difficult can be.
It ain't bad. It ain't bad.
It ain't bad. Okay, I love it. Anyone else? How was it?
Practice on at row 1, column row 2.
Did you say 1?
Any practice on the rows and the columns?
Yeah. So you just need to go on just go on a worksheet, find a worksheet online. They have a bunch of them. And just type in. Can I move this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, just type in multiplying matrices. Multiplying matrices. What can we say? Multiplying matrices. Well, multiplying 2 by 2 matrices worksheet. All right. Once you do that, it should be good. And then once you do that worksheet, that'll give you more practice on those things. All right. Okay, so all right, can we okay, so I say we're gonna check it, right? So this is gonna be excuse me, sorry. Formula for multiplying matrices. Okay, so when you so let me just find a worksheet for you. So worksheet for multiplying matrices. You could do it for homework. A bunch of them online. So Conda software is so good. This is good. I like them. They're free of charge.
Huh?
So this one, I love it. This is good. This should be for homework, Do they have the answer? And they have the answer key. Good, perfect. So this is very good. This is very good. This is very good. Let me
Miss T, quick question.
go ahead.
Right, I agree.
Concerning it wasn't concerning today's class, it was concerning last week's class functions. Do you know where I could get like answer sheets and questions at the same time?
For functions?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that you for functions. Okay, so wait, let me first deal with matrix multiplication and then we talk about function. So I like what they did here. What they did is that they actually say write undefined for the expressions that are undefined. So not all these works. So I like that about this. And you could try it out, and then they actually have the answer key too. So it'll be nice.
My name?
So yeah, so do this. I don't know how to send this to all of y'all though.
You send the link in the chat.
The link. I wonder if that'll work. Okay, so this is very good. Thingy. You know what I haven't done? I haven't done check the attendance. It's pretty late to check the attendance. So, oh my goodness. This is the latest we've ever been.
That's what Nancy, the class president, here for.
That's true, you're right.
I'm gonna just take it because I don't mind.
Yeah. All right, I read that stress on myself. Okay, so yeah, you could use that. That's a good sheet.
It work.
Now she asked about functions. You know, Nancy, if you just go on GCSE, not Bgcse, but GCSE functions worksheet, you get a good. This is very good deal. This is very good. This is very good. This is very good. Yeah. This is very good. So they show you how to solve for it, and they show you composite.
Right? Listen, like you need to link up with John.
In my
You're like you, I'm gonna trying to see you.
Yeah, and then they show you the answers. Now I want you. What you want is good. So they have exam style questions and the mark scheme. All right, that's very good for you all. So let's go on the exam style questions. So functions to basics. Very good stuff for you all. Very good. They like this. It's very good exercise. And then the good thing is that they actually have other answer key. So just go on mark scheme right now. And then they'll tell you the right answers. Okay. So in the UK they care about their students. In the Bahamas, it's hard to find, resources like that. That's why every time I'm looking for something for Bgcse, I just go on the GCSE syllabus, and then I can find good stuff. And it's comparable. It's very comparable. Now I warn you, they do advanced stuff. So if you answering that stuff, don't expect it to be just like that on the Bgcse. It's gonna be easier. All right, just know that. All right. So that's that. So the next. So let me just put that link in there. Okay. All right. So I think we're ready for English now.
What subject we have today?
English. So let's move forward to English. All right.
We still read it.
No one sent me there. I didn't get any new essay, except for one new essay that I got, which it wasn't new. I didn't get no new essay. So
did you ever give us a new topic?
I didn't give a new topic. But what I did do is I did assign people the same topic as last time, and I was hoping that they would do that, but they didn't do that. So I guess what I'll do for sure before the night end is assign the topics. Okay, so yeah, so let's take an overview of these papers. I'm gonna start with the Bgcse. We're just looking at the structure of the papers. All right, and then before the night is out, we're gonna actually do uh uh actual question, right? So just looking at the structure. So the first paper, this is for Bgcse, starting off with them, continuous writing, all right? And this one is in May. So they tend to, and this year look like it's gonna be a normal year. They tend to occur in the same around the same amount of around the same
Why
time.
you say that? Why you say normal year?
You know exactly what I mean by normal year. You know exactly what I mean. Right one.
Maybe
Yeah,
ain't so.
exams at the end of next month, though.
All right, I say normal year compared with respect to like how last year wasn't really a normal year because last year the exams happened further down. Like the dates were different. You know what I mean? Crazy different than it usually is be, right? And so when I say normally, I mean in terms of that. Like it is having exams in June and stuff like that, like deep in June. We didn't usually have it like that. Okay, so we could expect that round about the 17th of May, thereabout. That's gonna be your first. This is going to not this is not gonna be your first paper for English. Your first paper for English is the oral, right? The listening, because the listening comes before this. Let me show you what I mean. So the English, wow, the English oral came. Y'all need to get your schedule.
I thought the writing paper come first.
No, this one comes first. Even though it's paper 2, this one comes first. The listening. So y'all need to get your schedule because this thing ends in April. So make sure I get your schedule to know. And this is in the 9th of April last time it came. On 2019. In 2013 it came on the 23rd of April. So they tried and put it in April. So wow, y'all having y'all
Miss
Queen.
Petit.
Yes, ma'am.
Wish you all the best.
I remember
That is
doing
gross.
paper first.
That's nasty. And the thing is, back then, service was a
Can you type?
Big time conversation.
Can you type? Oh my goodness.
I know she are.
Yeah, I know Nancy Hart. Nancy Hart, why? Okay, so your first paper is gonna be the oral paper for Bgcse candidates. Let's look at BJC paper.
Mr. Petit,
Yes, sir.
is it true that if you flung this, you can't pass no matter what?
Why you say that?
I mean, like if you miss this first exam, and
If you can't take the other subsequent exams?
I mean, like they say, if you miss this, you can't get a passing grade.
No, it made no sense. Why would that make sense? This is how much. This is only how much points. This is I don't see why you would not get a passing grade.
Mr. Petit,
Yes, ma'am.
I was saying that last year they did the English paper one. First paper one was the writing paper.
No, that's not true.
Yeah.
Paper
I
paper paper one, although it's paper one, it doesn't come first. You understand? I know that's weird. Yeah, because paper 2 comes first. The oral comprehension, the listening, that comes first. Even though it's
So
paper.
why they can't just relabel it?
I mean, that's just them, man. They do what they do best. You know what I mean? Like, but the oral comprehension comes first. That's usually in April. So please get your schedule, right? So you can know which exam comes first. Like the date, the exact
I
date.
think it's the third,
The 3rd of what?
May.
The 3rd of May. So they push it up all the way to May. Okay.
Well, I have my exams at the end of May.
Where to get? Well, no, not that type of exam. We're talking about national exams. Okay, so let me
It
look up.
is in April. It's too quick.
Yeah, I understand. But you know one thing with the bombers.
But I had my exam in February though.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, so Let's look at English, Bgcse. So let's look at through the years how it was. So 2019 is the closest we have. So we have the writing skills paper 1. That's 40 marks. All right. That's when you have to write essay, and then you also have to write a letter, right? In this one with the writing skills. This is a whole whopping 40 marks. All right. So make sure to do well in this. So you have to write a letter, right? And you have to write a essay, 300 words. If you do not remember how to write a letter, just go on YouTube, right? There's this girl, she did a good job with the setup. Bgcse letter something. Let me see if we have. There we go. This is good. Some good review lessons from the formal letter. They did a good job here. And there's a girl who I saw who was doing some. There we go. Her, the passing score. She did a good video on that. I mean, she is a little charismatic, but I found that a little neat. So if you want to revise the letter, she did a good job with it, and showing you what's supposed to go in it, and the stamp and your name and stuff.
So this letter can use for Bgcse too?
Let me see if y'all write the letter though. Let's see. Y'all write a letter. This is continuous writing. Write a story, describe an event. Write a story. And then this one say no letter for y'all.
I think that's paper 3 or something.
No letter for y'all. Not in paper 1. Paper 1 is okay. At the composition. Write a composition based on one of the topics. No letter for y'all. You can need a plan, and you can need to write at least I think it depends on which topic you choose though. Let's see. Because okay, this one say write a story, we should be suggested, write a composition. You've been asked the standard. No letter. It's just description. No letter. But for the Bgcse people, you all need to know how to do that letter. So watch that video from that young lady, or go on bahamasvirtual.com on this one. This is a good one. The formal letter. Very good. Okay, so for paper 1, expect to write an essay and to write a letter for Bgcse. And then for Bgcse, make sure be ready for paper 1. You're gonna write an essay, 500 words. All right.
But I know they up to 352.
350 to 500, yeah. Please, like they say, pay attention to punctuation, spelling, and handwriting. Please. Make sure write a plan, please. They say you should not begin to write your composition during this time. That's the first 10 minutes. You just plan. That's so important. Man, I can't iterate to y'all how important it is to write a plan. And to, like we saw the other day, not only to write a plan, but to make sure that in your plan, you have good points, right? Because we don't want to be talking about sleep and tuck shop when it's time to be talking about curfew. So make sure you not only have a plan, but make sure that in your plan you have sensible points. Like I say, in general, try to do composition. Try to do expository. So like this would be a good one. Many young people in Bahamas combine their education with a part-time job. Explain some problems this may cause. This is a good question to do. And number 5.
So, Mr. Potato, all them expository is a 3-point system.
Yeah, 3-point system. Yeah. So yeah, all these are 5-paragraph essays as a general rule, unless you're doing like a narrative. Okay, so I would recommend you to do number 3 and number 5. Any other ones, I do not recommend you to do. If you do it, that's at your own risk. But I don't recommend it. Okay, especially the descriptive one. Oh boy, this is like they lead me.
I like describing like that's true my essay. So.
what they want is they want you to describe. They want you to include all sensory details. So what your eyes see, what your ears hear, what your mouth tastes, what your hands touch, what your nose smell. You have to include all of that, and it have to be nice and smooth. Like it has to like flow, almost like poetry. And so that's why
Oh no.
yeah, it has to be really really like you could be able to. They call it imagery. So you have to be able to see the event. When the reader read it, they should be able to see the event. And so if you're not really good at writing, I wouldn't suggest that you do this one. In this write a story. Um, Although he was a tower man with a huge hands, the rock did not budge when he attempted to move it. This is narrative. So with narrative, you have to create characters, you have to create a plot, you have to create setting, you have to create a climax, you have to create um, personalities, character sketch, and so and you have to do all that in so little time. And so I don't recommend narrative, neither descriptive. Just do straightforward expository. That's what I would recommend. And then this one is a poetry one. You write a composition based on the following lines of poetry. You may write about any ideas in the that the poem suggests to you, or you may write a story or a description based on the subject of the poem. You should not write the poem. So with this one, I wouldn't recommend this because you might misunderstand the poem. Right now, that's another thing. If you misunderstand the poem and then you write something that you think connected to the poem, and they're like, no, that's not connected to the poem, so your whole essay ain't making no sense. And so you end up, doing horrible because you want to pick a poem question. Don't do this, please. Please. Um, then you've been asked to stand in your favorite administrator for one day. Describe your experiences. And be sure to include a variety of sensory details in your response. Ay, ay, ay.
They
So
won't be in there. Like they won't be there when they read that.
so it's challenging. I wouldn't wait. Don't work yourself that hard. Please. It's not impossible. It just takes a strong writer to pull it off.
That's what they.
So
We ever did something like that before?
if I ever did something like that before,
Yeah.
yeah, I've done it before. Our teacher taught us it, but she told us from the break in the exam, don't do it. She told us from the break. So we had
Then
we
you
had
can do that one. Then
we had to do all of them types, but in the exam we didn't. We just had she recommended us to do expository. So okay, so yeah, and then this one is on the photograph. So this one is obviously the photograph is going to be much more clear than this, but you get a photograph and you have to write a description story based on the photo. Now the difficulty with this one is that it must connect. So there must be a clear connection between what you write in the photograph and your essay. And so the scary part about this one is that you might miss the connection. And so I would say be careful of this one. Now with Bgcse, this one is pretty straightforward. Um, what I would say is, okay, so this one is the friendly letter. So your friend who lives on the other island, the Bahamas, is not performing well academically in school and has to attend mandatory afternoon classes. Write a letter to your friend explaining at least three benefits of attending these classes. What I would recommend with these letters is number one. First of all, remember you're talking to your friend. So you wouldn't say dear sir, madam. Like that don't make no sense. Like you're talking to your friend. So you would greet them like they're your friend. You could say dear and you write their name, dear Suzanne or dear Harry or dear
So
Joe.
do it as an informal letter.
Not you don't want to be too it's a friendly letter. Like and you could be and this one you don't wanna be too like because you're writing to your friend, right? So you don't want to be too although you want to show your diction and you want to show that you're a mature writer. For this one, you also want to show that this is your friend. So you might talk about, hey, the last time we spoke, or I can't remember the last time we spoke, or it's been a while, or like speak like in your introduction, like you wouldn't go straight into saying, hey friend, here are the 3 reasons why I will be writing this letter to tell you the 3 benefits of attending these classes. Like
That's not like an odd.
that's not, that's not, that's
Why
not
you
like
just
that.
like you just answering the question,
Hey, that's
right?
all like you just answered. Like it's your friend, so you can talk about, hey, wait, you always saw that movie from whatever, like But anyway, like my mommy forced me to tell you to write or to write some reasons why you should be attending these class. Or, I really care about you and I really, or you could say, man, you could talk about your experience and how it was good for you and then how you just saying where I want you to share the same experience. Like talk how you would, I'm not saying you would slang, right? But easier way into answering the question. Like don't just start off by saying, here will be the 5 reasons why we'll be talking, or 3 reasons why we'll be talking about attend classes. Like this is not a speech. This is a letter to your friend, and so you wanna speak with them and relate to them as if they're your friend, and end and begin and weave the ideas in a friendly way, like how you would talk to a friend. Okay, so better than mine with this one. This is mandatory, so you can't avoid this. Write a story in which someone is betrayed by a friend. Please don't do this. Avoid this. It's a narrative. Um, this is and this is a narrative. We try not to do narrative. This one is descriptive.
I think I did that one on the exam,
This one?
A national exam.
Okay. All right.
Pete,
Yes, ma'am.
one you say was mandatory, so we have to do that and another one.
Yeah, because this is the letter. Remember? The letter topic indicated by the asterisk. All right.
Oh,
And so this is the letter. So that one is mandatory for y'all. And then yeah, so that letter is mandatory. But the other one, then you have to choose another essay. So y'all have to write fast because y'all only have an hour and 30 minutes. So
what?
yeah, if you have to write a letter and um the essay. So you all have to be rolling. But I mean y'all only have 300 words, so that's good. Be sure to include a vivid description. Vivid is very important. Vivid means I can see, I can hear, I see what happening, sensory details, right? Be sure to include a vivid description of the setting, the sights, the sounds, activities that took place, and any interesting persons whom you meet. So this is descriptive. So they want you to describe everything, the cat on the wall, like with colors, sounds,
The
sights.
gum that stick to your shoe.
The gum that stick to your shoe. It had a turquoise shade of of what it is, violet, aqua green, whatever, man.
Oh goodness!
You know,
Look at the colors.
they want you to listen.
Imagine doing all of that and still no pass.
Of course, like anyway, write a story ending with the following words. From now on, I will always do what is right, despite the consequences. So they want you to talk about them. This narrative. I would support writing this one. School should be allowed to host after school fundraisers, like we said. This is expository, very straightforward to the point. And then this one is
Plus, they don't mark you that hard.
they don't mark it out. I do this one. But straightforward, formal, nice, good. Study the photographs on pages 3 and 4. Carefully choose one of them to write a composition of your own. The composition may be either narrative, descriptive, expository, or argumentative, or persuasive. There must be a clear connection between the photograph, and the composition. So here they asking you to make up a story, and this look like bullying. And so, if you were to do this, I guess you can talk about bullying and say, should bullying be allowed in schools, or what should be the consequences of bullying, or something like that. All right, that's paper 1. This one, I don't understand what's happening in this picture. I see a woman standing.
See, this is why they should make it in color.
That's also the scanning. So, yeah.
That woman look like she attitude.
One moment, class. One moment.
What you did get when you did write that story, Nancy?
I got a C. It was bad. I didn't know what I was doing.
I think Mr. Petit say something like that happened with him too. When he tried to do a story instead of doing the expository, he got a lower grade than he expected.
Because we only practice, we, that year we was really practicing like the first part of the exam. So writing was never like my strong. I never had a good command on English and like English essays. So yeah, I know that one was going to be difficult.
The problem is they make them so juicy, like you just want to do them.
No essay in exam is never juicy way. I don't know. None.
Like that one, it's a someone betrayed a friend or something like that. I would run right on that.
I wrote a story. I remember what I wrote. I wrote about Jesus in the Bible. When Judas betrayed him. That's what I wrote, honestly. Because I didn't know what to think of, like, honest.
Oh, Nancy, come on, man.
Big F. But yeah, I like that what's his name, Mr. Bethel pointed out that hey, you know that they are alluring questions. They are enticing. You know what I mean? You would wanna write something on that. Write a story ending in the following way. Dun 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 dun. It sounds thrilling. And then you go there and you mess yourself up. So don't fall for we call it the trick of a devil. You know. All right. So
So
formal
we as expository warriors in here, Mr. D.
better be. Okay. So this is also no. Oh, my apologies. It seems if no, this isn't mandatory. What's her name? Um, what's her name? Non Miss Cooper.
Cooper.
This is not mandatory. You could write two letters because this one is a letter. You could also write on, but this one have to be 300 words. The other letter, the mandatory letter now, is the formal letter. That's this one. Write a letter. Congratulations, Shawnee Miller, and the other one. So these ones are mandatory, and then you have to have an envelope. All right. I don't want to spend too much time on this because our time is running
This
out.
the BJC?
This one is the BJC. This one which he's talking about was the letters, formal letter, and also the one with the with the stories that we just were talking about. This is the BJC format. 30 marks for the essay and 10 marks for the letter. Now for the BGCSE, like we just saw, that's the one where they have the poem. That's the one where they have the different types of questions that they could ask you, and then that's where they also have the picture as well, but no letter in this one. Um, okay, but the first paper that you will do is the oral. That's the listening. For BGC, y'all when y'all is y'all oral is on. This one is on the. This is the 30th of May. This one is on the 29th of May. So y'all on following sequence. But the BGC I see they all over the place. Okay, good. So then you'll have a listening comprehension to do for the BJC. This comprehension usually be nice. They usually just be straightforward, and then of course you have the reading comprehension. All right, and then the closed passages, which I like. Okay. And then for Bgcse, you have your oral. Please listen attentively. Take good notes. Um, take good notes. Try your best because days be moving so fast. But take good notes. Try to get an understanding of what's happening. And this is, this is one is, just remembering, and trying to understand and really taking good notes and trying to be quick at note taking. Some things you gotta be brief in writing those notes. You can't write the whole sentence. Just write quickly with what's happening, and don't be lazy. All right, don't be lazy. In writing the notes, that's what helped me. I had the notes there. I could refer back to it, so that's important. Paper 3. This is directed. This is written comprehension directed writing. I think this one that Nancy told me about, that she's stressing about. Directed writing. So, um, you know what?
Long story.
Yeah, that's no paper 4. So this one is just reading comprehension. This one is talking about life in New Providence and okay, civil rights, whatever. Now they start off with little multiple choice, which is pretty good, and then you have the right, basically mini essays inside of them. Now then paper 4 for the extended people. This is extended comprehension and directed writing. And so with this one, if you ask me, it reminds me so much of literature. This is for 9 to 10, 10 to 11, so 2 hours and 30 minutes. I remember with this paper, all I was doing just was writing. Whatever come to mind, just was writing. You have to be so fast at writing. You just write. Just let it flow. Like you don't be stingy with what you write. Let it flow. That's what I remember most about this.
So it's almost like a bonus stage then.
Yeah, this is extended. So this is part 2 of the reading comprehension. But this one is just more so speed than anything. Like you just roll in, reading and rolling, reading and just whatever comes to your mind, just write in. That's all. That's all. Like just write in. You can't take time. Oh, I wonder if that, and I can't, and boy, this. You just read the thing. What comes to your mind, whether it be right or wrong, you just write. The reason why I say is because you have so much part of that paper to write. By the time you figure out X, Y, Z, A, B, and C, the exam then be over. So you're trying to maximize on what you actually put on the paper, and also giving yourself time also come back to review it. All right. So I mean, I'm not just saying write anything willy nilly, right? But don't if you can't remember, like if you can't remember a sophisticated word to use, well then use the word that you could remember that flow natural. That's what I'm trying to say. Like with this one, let you have to just trust your intuition, because there's a lot to read, it's a lot to go over and a lot to write, and so make sure you just move forward with this one. Um, okay, so what this one? This is
So where you writing all this? They just input in the papers, eh? Where you
saying
write.
what?
They input in the blank papers, eh?
What do you mean?
Because they say like response, your response to this. But I ain't see no where to put the response.
Oh, you have the right on. You have the right on. Let's see. Let's see. Let's look at this. Mm, okay, you have the. Okay, so this one says freedom from slavery. Okay, so clearly you're not writing on this, right? You have the right on paper that they will give you. Now they do have some space, but excuse me. They do have some space, but then I always find myself needing extra paper. Okay, so let's do this one before we go. I then already see that we're gonna we're gonna we are going to extend the time. But
What do you mean?
we're gonna go past 9 because we just started really. But I want us to at least begin number to answer number 2. So that means you have to read the question, read the passage, and then we're gonna see or get a feel of how to answer um, number 2. All right, the 14 points. All right, so let's just read it.
Miss Petite,
Uh-huh.
like the extended language, like what that is.
That's just basically reading comprehension, same reading comprehension, but on steroids. So what they basically want is that they basically want, you see, like how for paper 1, right? You had to write one essay, right?
Yes,
What
sir.
you basically doing is that you writing multiple mini essays throughout. So think about doing paper 1 like 5 times, but in 2 hours and 30 minutes. You know what I mean? Like that's what extended is. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that's what it is. I'm calling the body. Try to put some. See what they do. Give me one moment. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, so let's go. You can see my screen?
Yes, sir.
So
Yeah, so it's gonna give you a good feel of what they expecting, right? So let's see. So it says section A. The following passage is based on the narrative experiences in the southern United States when the enslavement of the African plantation workers was abolished in 1865. Read it carefully and then answer the questions that follow. You should spend no more than 1 hour on this section. So freedom from slavery. So this is basically talking about this is the narrator writing about his experience on that his experience in the US when slavery was abolished. This is 1865. So that's the setting. That's what's happening here, right? So the title is Freedom from Slavery. So I want y'all to really look and think and read with this. Like think about it. Think of what they actually trying to say. Because that's gonna be key in answering this. Like what do they mean? So it says, finally the war closed, and the day of freedom came. It was a momentous and eventful day to all upon our plantation. We had been expecting it. Freedom was in the air and had been for months. Deserting soldiers returning to their homes were to be seen every day. Others who had been discharged or whose regiments had been discharged or paroled were constantly passing near our place. The grapevine telegraph was kept busy night and day. The news and mutterings of great events were swiftly carried from one plantation to the other. In the fear of Yankee invasions, the silverware and other valuables were taken from the big house, buried in the woods and guarded by trusted slaves. Woe be to anyone who would have attempted to disturb the buried treasure. The slaves would give the Yankee soldiers food, drink, clothing, anything but that which has been specifically entrusted to their care and honor. As the great day drew near, there was more singing in the slave quarters than usual. It was bolder, had more ring, and lasted later into the night. Most of the verses of the plantation songs had some reference to freedom, such as "Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home." True, they had sung these same verses before, but they had been careful to explain that the freedom in these songs referred to the next world and had no connection with the life in this world. Now they gradually threw off the mask and were not afraid to let it be known that the freedom in their songs meant freedom of the body in this world. The night before the eventful day, word was sent to the slave quarters to the effect that something unusual was going to take place at the big house the next morning. There was little, if any, sleep that night. All was excitement and expectancy. Early the next morning, word was sent to all the slaves, old and young, to gather at the house. In company with my mother, brother, and sisters, and a large number of other slaves, I went to the master's house. All of our master's family were either standing or seated in the veranda of the house, where they could see what was to take place and hear what was said. There was a feeling of deep interest, or perhaps a sadness, on their faces, but not bitterness. As I now recall the impression they made upon me, they did not at the moment seem to be sad because of loss of property, but rather because of parting with those whom they had whom they had reared, and who were in many ways very close to them. The more distinct thing that I now recall in connection with the scene was that some man, who seemed to be a stranger, a United States officer, I presume, made a little speech, and then read a rather long paper, the Emancipation Proclamation, I think. After the reading, we were told that we were all free, and could go when and where we pleased. Some wept. My mother, who was standing by my side, leaned over and kissed her children, while tears of joy ran down her cheeks. She explained to us what it all meant, that this was the day for which she was so long been praying, but fearing that she would never live to see it. For some minutes there was great rejoicing and thanksgiving, and wild scenes of ecstasy. But there was no feeling of bitterness. In fact, there was pity among the slaves for our former owners. The wild rejoicing on the part of the emancipated colored people lasted but for a brief period, for I noticed that by the time they returned to their cabins, there was a change in their feelings. The great responsibility of being free, of having charge of themselves, of having to think and plan for themselves and their children, seemed to take possession of them. It was very much like sudden turning of a youth of 10 or 12 years put out into the world to provide for himself. In a few hours, the great questions which the Anglo-Saxon race had been grappling for centuries had been thrown upon these people to be solved. These were the questions of a home, a living, the rearing of children, education, citizenship, and the establishment of supportive churches. Was it any wonder that within a few hours the wild rejoicing ceased, and a feeling of deep gloom seemed to pervade the slave quarters? To some it seemed that now they were in actual possession of it. Freedom was a more serious thing than they had expected to find it. Gradually, one by one, stealthily at first, the older slaves began to wander from the slave quarters back to the big house to have a whispered conversation with their former owners as to the future. All right, I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Very beautiful.
Very beautiful. Why is it, Kennedy? Tell me out.
This is beautiful. It shows how long they wanted this for, and when the time actually came so excited, and I like that.
All right. Anyone else thoughts on the on the reading?
I don't really have no particular thoughts, but I could see it's from a perspective of someone young at the time.
At the time? Okay. Okay. Okay.
What, Wally?
Say it again.
Never mind.
Okay. I hope that ain't what I hear. I hope that ain't what I thought I heard. I hope, Miss Cooper. I hope. Um.
What you hope and
I
think?
I I hope. I hope. All right. Compared to what we have been reading in the other passages, in terms of the vocabulary, do you find it to be the previous ones to be harder to read, or this one to be harder to read?
The previous one's
Previous
harder.
one.
Previous ones, right? Right. And that's why we started with the previous ones, because the previous ones was more difficult, and also too that the previous one is SAT. This is Bgcse, and this is Bgcse extended. And look at this level of reading. Like it's easy to read. Like it was hardly hard to find any real, you know, hard thing to read. Like it was just pretty straightforward. So that's another thing to be careful of. Like just because it's the extended paper, don't think like this is like the end of the world. Oh my goodness, I can't read it. No, it's just.
But I mean, isn't reading like just the tip of the iceberg?
Say it again.
Isn't the reading part just the tip of the iceberg? It's the comprehension part is that you gotta be.
No, but the thing is, if you could read it, that's a plus. The previous ones, we barely could have read it, judge understanding it. Yeah. So, um, so the difficulty level here is it's easier. You know what I mean? That's the point I'm trying to make. All right. Okay, so, okay, someone summarize, uh, the essay for me. Summarize it for me. What happened in the passage? Hello?
Hello.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, that was the takeaway. But summarize it for me though. Like,
Uh during the early slave days, the slaves was hinting like they were polluting to freedom, but they just wasn't so bold about it. But when the freedom did come, they was you know more open about it. And although it seemed like a joyous moment, it also seemed gloomy at the same time because their newfound freedom also came with repercussions such as like the future. They don't know what the future holds for them now that they free.
yes, 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 yes. But
And it seemed like they was like that cliffhanger was like, hey, like they were trying to get back into what they was doing before because they can't handle the freedom.
Is that an expected um is that an expected end though? Like we were expecting that.
No,
Kind
no.
of.
It's like they got freedom in their body, but they mind still enslaved.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of. I kind of was expecting it.
You was expecting that, Nancy?
Yes, sir. Kind of.
Go ahead.
You want me to explain why?
Yeah.
Because if you really look at it, if you look at it from my based off what I'm understanding is that if I grow up a certain way and it's just all I know, automatically it's going to come naturally, means it's going to become my new norm. I'm just deepening it because I don't want slavery. So based off my understanding of deep being in it. And so based off the understanding, they basically grew up being enslaved and being told what to do at any moment and how to live and how to breathe and all of these things. Of course, the natural mind is going to be used to it, even though you're free. Okay, I'm free, but this is not what I'm used to. I'm used to telling me people telling me what to do and when to do it. So I can't expect it because it's like shifting from Nassau to say you're going to live in Norway or something. It's too cold for you. You can't handle it. Your body have to adapt. So it's good. I taken it that way. Me too. I'm kind of looking at it at that perspective.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, I understand what you're saying. Like, it takes some adjusting to and some adaptation. What I'm saying is that personally, now I do remember this from when we did this in school. So I remember the story, and I remember how it ended. But the first time I read it, I was honestly surprised. I was like, I did not see initially, because when you think, when you think of freedom, and you mean fighting for freedom and fighting for rights, like you generally think that to be a good thing, right? And it is a good thing as a general rule. But um, like there's also repercussions too. Like there's also responsibilities that come with being free. You know what I mean? Where are these slaves gonna live now? What life they gonna have? You know what I mean? And stuff like that. And
That's the
so
price of being domesticated.
that's exactly say domestic. So that's so yeah, so it is a very I think it's a very eye-opening read. You know what I mean? It shows you the responsibility of being free and how you know, especially for those who are in school now, I don't think y'all understand um how sheltered you are. And honestly, at your age, certain things you just wouldn't think of. Like you literally just wouldn't think of. Like, and then when you're out of school, I just go with my experience. When you're out of school and um, you finish with that and you finish with your schooling and now it's time to enter the real world. Like certain questions you now thinking about and you're like, why I didn't think about this earlier? And the reason why you didn't think about it earlier is because like you never had to think about it. You know what I mean? And so it's just an eye opener for many persons. Say like, man, I can't wait till I come out of school. I can't wait till I come to school. Eh,
So school wasn't really preparing you for the real world, is what you're saying.
no, sir, no, sir, no, sir. Uh-uh, uh-uh. The good
Okay.
thing, the good thing one thing I love about school, it gave me knowledge and education, and that knowledge and education I could share. But in terms of practical lines, and then also too, let me be honest, let me be fair. Some things they would say to us, but we never. Let me just touch you from like I never took it really like, seriously. Like they would say, um,
That's because it's not your reality.
yeah, it's not my reality. So I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. We had a. It just sounded cliche, so I never really took it hard. I mean, took it to heart. Like how some of the younger students inside this group maybe like, yeah, they always tell us the same thing. Yeah, when we grow up, you know, we could really feel what it is to be an adult and da. You know,
Forever young, man. We
yeah.
can't. You can get old.
And so you never really think about it, but golly, hmm, once you finish and you realize that the only reason why they wasn't slapping you with the bill was because you was in school uniform, then you say, okay, all right, I understand now. You know what I mean? Yeah, but once the moment you take off that school uniform, moment that graduation prayer say amen, that's it, buddy. That's it.
Right? You go on to further education or you getting a job.
You bet that right. And even then it's different. So yeah,
So I have a question.
go ahead.
Like the main purpose of school is to get knowledge but not be prepared for real life.
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. That was my experience. I would say that school adequately prepared me. And then again, I hate to put the blame on no one else. Like the information was available. You know what I mean? And so I can't put down no blame on no one else. But back to the story, or to the question. How does the writer use language and other techniques to recreate what the slaves felt and experienced? So we ain't have not enough time to deal with this. I really wish I want to prolong y'all night. So what I'll do is I'm gonna give you an example of what I want, and I gotta let y'all do it for homework. Okay? So I think this is gonna be a very good exercise for you to see what's happening. So
It's gonna be like a mini essay.
is it gonna be? It's supposed to be a mini essay. All right.
How much words are we talking? Like 200.
I wouldn't word it. I wouldn't put a number of words. I would say as much as you're able to take away. You know what I mean? That's
Or
what I
one
would say.
paragraph.
Not one paragraph. Like section it off or whatever. Whatever style you feel is best. But the first thing to do is identify the techniques.
We have to do this too.
Yes. Yes. How does the writer use language and other techniques to recreate what the slaves experienced and felt? All right. So, how did the writer use his language or her language? I think it's a he though. But how does he use his language and other techniques to recreate what he experienced and felt? So, there we talking about figures of speech, we talking about figurative language, we talking about those sort of things, right? What did he use to get the things working? And
You get an essay back again.
say it again.
Like, how are you supposed to see the essay thing?
Oh, the essay is 2000 and 2013 Bgcse paper 4 section A.
I could try and find it.
Yeah, just go on student share
That's
anyway.
what they got on the student shared, right?
Yeah, I get it on student share. Now I can tell you right now the answer key have they only ask for okay, this say 14, right? This is 14 points. So if you give like a good if you give like a good let me see if you get like a good hmm if you give all right let me just tell you what the marking scheme say. They say that if you give 0 to 2 techniques, you get an E or F. If you give 3 to 5, you get a D. 6 to 8, you get a C. 9 to 11, you get a B or C. 12 to 14, you get a B or A. So
My goodness.
you have to find in order to get an A for if you're not to get in order to get full 14 points, you have to find 14 devices, right? 12 to 14 devices used in this essay by the writer to do what? To
So the experience.
to what they say to recreate the slaves how they experienced and felt. All right. I can
Okay,
tell
what
you
do you mean by techniques to recreate?
4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. The answer key of 25. So it's 25 at least. 25 possible answers. You only have to find 14 to get the 8. All right. So when they say, what's your question was Nancy?
What they mean use language and other techniques to recreate techniques in general.
Techniques like, go ahead.
I'm asking because I don't know what they mean by techniques.
Then I'll be giving you the answer. Most I can say is look at, as I said, look at your figures of speech, look at types of sentences, look at um, um, figurative language, look at literary devices. That's the word. Look up literary devices, and you should be able to see. So are we good?
Where I can find 14 devices from?
From the story.
Uh-oh.
From the story, all right? So we can do that. So do that for homework. When we come on Wednesday, we can dissect it.
Mr. D,
So,
can you ask me something after class?
yes, no problem. All right, so with that being said, yeah, let's have a wonderful night. Take care, all the best, and I'll see you all on tomorrow. Like I said, tomorrow, there will be a bias BGC questions. Not that it'll be all BJC, but there will be a bias.
So what happened after maths?
Maths
Okay.
is health science and general science. That's me now.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night. Good night. All the best.
Hey, Mr. D,
One moment. Let me end the recording.